In Barbados, the Bolivarian government delegation arrived to take part in the dialogue with the opposition sectors group in the unitary platform. In the United States, Hollywood actors continue on strike for nearly 100 days. And in China, Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived to participate in the Third Belt and Road Forum. In this framework, President Putin will hold a bilateral meeting with his counterpart Xi Jinping. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The Bolivarian government delegation arrived in Barbados to take part in the dialogue with the opposition sector grouped in the unitary platform. The parties decided to resume dialogue and negotiations facilitated by Norway to reach political agreements. President Nicolas Maduro assured that the forthcoming agreements will be very beneficial for peace and for the upcoming elections, adding that with this new electoral power, all electoral, legal and technological guarantees are secured within the strict framework of the law, the constitution, and the decisions of the Venezuelan institutions. Jorge Rodriguez, President of the National Assembly, heads the government delegation. On Monday, the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, denied and denounced media manipulation regarding the agreements reached at the dialogue table between the government and the opposition. During his television program, Con Maduro Más, he confirmed the resumption of the dialogues with the opposition sectors and denounced the leaking of information about the agreements. The president also urged people not to be manipulated by the press, since Venezuela will act according to the laws established in the Constitution of the Republic. The dialogues were paused in 2022 due to the fact that the opposition did not comply with the established agreements, referring to the release of funds that would be destined to social programs and attention to basic services affected by the sanctions.
Nosotros, con ética, con honor, hemos respetado todo el proceso.
We have respected the whole process with ethics, with honor. They live by leaking information underneath to manipulate, to lie. For different reasons, they try to lie, to manipulate. I only say, if they are going to respect the agreements that have been discussed, that have been agreed, and have been signed, I could say many more things. But I am a man of my word. And as of today, at this moment, I confirm the work committed there in the conversations.
The president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, affirmed that those who leak information about reached agreements are doing it with the aim of destabilizing the country.
If we are going to talk and we have reached an agreement, I cannot try to leak information and take it out left-handedly by lying, manipulating, because you are breaking the agreement. You are damaging the agreement. You are undermining the agreement. Those who put out these false leaks and set up a whole international apparatus through national and international media and networks to lie are stabbing the negotiations, talks, and agreements that have already been signed in the back.
Likewise, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro asserted to be working on doing justice to those malicious citizens who leak information on the agreement sealed in the peace dialogues with the opposition.
Don't lie. Venezuela is working very seriously on doing justice and will continue advancing. I have no further comments because I respect the agreements. But if they don't stop manipulating and lying, I have to say it all. Everything that has to be said. I just tell the people of Venezuela I have faith and absolute trust that I won't back any illegality. Venezuelan entities respect themselves. Fascism won't occur in Venezuela. I just go against bending the truth as plain as so.
The president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, met with the Secretary of Foreign Affairs of Mexico, Alicia Bárcenas, in order to strengthen diplomatic relations and favor the mutual development. The dialogue took place after a month of exchange between the two officials during the G77 plus China summit held in Havana. The Venezuelan president also pointed out that during Monday's meeting, they reaffirmed the commitment to advance in cooperation in key areas to address global challenges. In this context, both nations joined efforts based on the reactivation of the Permanent Binational Commission between Mexico and Venezuela to promote political dialogue and bilateral cooperation in all spheres. On Monday in Venezuela, social movements gathered in Plaza Bolivar in Caracas to raise their voices for the freedom of Alex Saab. The mobilizations took place in the framework of the 2 years of the kidnapping of the Venezuelan diplomat and were attended by social organizations, the People's Power, and the Free Alex Saab movement. In October 2021, the diplomat was detained without legal process since his capture in Cape Verde and then extradited to the United States. There is no certainty as to when his definite trial will be, although in different trials carried out or postponed, the defense has presented cases where it demonstrates the illegality of the process and at the same time has denounced different legal tricks to keep him under arrest. In the United States, political activist Medea Benjamin paid a visit to Venezuelan diplomat Alex Saab at the Federal Detention Center in Miami, assuring that he remains steadfast in his commitment to the Venezuelan people.
Hello, my name is Medea Benjamin with the group Code Pink. I just came back from the prison where Alex Saab is. What impressed me a lot was his courage. He has been tortured in Cabo Verde. He's far away from his family and he can receive visits. He has health problems and he doesn't know how long he's going to be imprisoned. And with all that, he continues with his head held high. He continues with his commitment with the Venezuelan people. I say we have to do everything possible to free Alex Saab, to lift the brutal sanctions against Venezuela and improve relations between the United States and Venezuela. Thank you.
In Cuba on Monday, President Díaz-Canel discussed issues on the current situation of Cuban society during his participation in the program La Mesa Redonda. The president said that the illegal, coercive, and unilateral U.S. measures are aimed at all nations with humanist values. In economic terms, Díaz-Canel reiterated that the pymes do not maintain a neoliberal construction but are based on social justice and the defense of the country's sovereignty with basis of economic equality for the Cuban people. In this sense, the president emphasized that each project is implemented with caution to avoid risk to the social and economic aspects of the nation. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Those stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the South. On Monday in the United States, the Hollywood actors' strike resumed while it's nearing 100 days since the stopping of activities began. As part of the celebration of the 100th anniversary of the iconic animation house, Disney, the Actors Union mobilized to demand better labor rights. They accused the production companies of using abusive tactics and at the same time denounced the lack of labor advances. In addition, unions are calling for fairer regulation in the entertainment industry and recently suspended negotiations with production companies after 10 days of unsuccessful talks.
Well, today is actually Disney's centennial anniversary. They are celebrating 100 years of being in business, and coincidentally, it is also day 95 of the SAG Actors strike. So we are out here kind of celebrating and kind of throwing them their own birthday party.
Feels different being here in this capacity than normally being very celebratory. Congratulations to them, but also boo on them for meeting this mark and not supporting us in all of our efforts and giving us the best treatment possible for all the entertainment that we as actors and writers have brought them over the years.
In the latest hours, Israeli bombings killed at least 71 Palestinians and dozens were injured in Rafah and Jan Juni in the Gaza Strip. On Tuesday morning, dozens of severely injured people were taken to overcrowded hospitals in Gaza in times when there is fear of fuel shortage for generators crucial to provide medical assistance. The latest briefing of Palestinian Health Ministry reported at least 2,808 deaths from Israeli blast, most of them children and women. Meanwhile, according to the UN figures, over 1 million Palestinian residents were compelled to leave their homes ahead of an Israeli attacks menace. U.S. President Joe Biden will pay a visit to Israel on Wednesday following the Gaza Strip crisis. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced so in Tel Aviv after an about 8-hour meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Biden's visit will be held by the time Israeli forces is getting ready for a ground offensive against the northern Gaza Strip. According to Blinken, the U.S. and Israel agreed on a plan of action which would allow humanitarian aid from donor nations and multilateral entities arrive to civilians in the sieged Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, Israeli bombings on the Strip continue, killing more than 2,800 people. On Tuesday, Belgium's police shot down and neutralized the main suspect of murdering 2 football fans in a terrorist attack in Brussels. Belgium's Counter-Terrorist Council raised its terrorism alert to the top level 4 due to a high terrorist menace to a football stadium, so the police cordoned off the area with 35,000 fans inside and called a match between Belgium and Sweden. The authorities shot dead the alleged murderer of 2 fans from the Swedish football team. The killer ran away after the incidents, and on Tuesday, Interior Minister Annelies Verlinden confirmed the alleged criminal's death in the Brussels Jarbik neighborhood. The suspect was identified as Tunisian Abdes Salem, settled illegally in Belgium, Prime Minister Alexander De Croo assured on Tuesday. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at TeleSUR English. There you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. So hit that subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back from the South. On the first day of the Belt and Road Forum, Chinese President Xi Jinping held a round of bilateral meetings with leaders from all over the world. The president met on Tuesday with the presidents of Papua New Guinea, Kazakhstan, Hungary, Ethiopia, and Chile. Xi Jinping expressed his satisfaction at receiving his old friend Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, president of Kazakhstan, a relationship that he described as solid, stable, and vibrant, which favors the development of both countries. On the other hand, the president of Chile, Gabriel Boric, declared that the spirit of collaboration for the construction of a new world order based on peace and harmony of peoples is being highly valued. Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in Beijing on Tuesday to attend the Third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation. China and Russia are each other's biggest neighbor and comprehensive strategic partner of coordination. Putin has visited China multiple times, and since 2013, the leaders of China and Russia have met 40 times on bilateral and international occasions. In March this year, the two leaders signed the joint statement of the People's Republic of China and the Russia Federation on deepening the comprehensive strategic partnership of coordination for a new era. China has been Russia's largest trading partner for 13 years running, and last year bilateral trade exceeded $190 billion, up by 116% from 10 years ago. Let's briefly review what this forum is all about.
The Belt and Road Forum represents a concept proposed in 2013 by Chinese President Xi Jinping. It promotes global interconnectivity in the areas of economy, trade, infrastructure, and also in the human and cultural fields. Over the past decade, over 150 countries and more than 30 international organizations have signed documents within the Belt and Road Initiative framework. So far, representatives of over 140 countries and 30-plus international organizations, including state leaders, heads of international organizations, ministerial officials, and representatives of the business sector, academia, and non-governmental organizations, have confirmed they will attend the event. Apart from the opening ceremony of the third BRF, 3 high-level forums will be held simultaneously for in-depth discussions on connectivity, green development, and the digital economy. Additionally, 6 thematic forums will be conducted in parallel under the topics of trade connectivity, people-to-people bonds, think-tank exchanges, clean Silk Road, subnational cooperation, and maritime cooperation. The forum is the most important diplomatic event hosted by China so far this year, and the most significant celebration for the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative.
India's Supreme Court on Tuesday refused to recognize same-sex marriage, arguing that it is not established as a constitutional right. This decision is in line with the view of the Indian government, which strongly opposed the recognition of these unions by the highest judicial body of the country. The verdict states that it is within the competence of Parliament and state legislatures to enact laws relating to same-sex marriage. The 5-judge bench of India's highest court thus urged the executive and Parliament to legislate on the issue. Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan on Tuesday accused Azerbaijan of driving Armenians out of Nagorno-Karabakh, but said he stood ready to normalize relations with Baku by the end of the year. At a plenary session of the European Parliament in Strasbourg, France, the Armenian Prime Minister affirmed that Nagorno-Karabakh was cleansed of Armenians and that Azerbaijan has clearly and unequivocally demonstrated its decision to make life impossible for Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh. The attack came ahead of planned talks in Brussels between Pashinyan and Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev, mediated by the EU. Tensions between the two Caucasus neighbors remain high. In September, Aliyev's troops recaptured Nagorno-Karabakh, a separatist enclave of Azerbaijan. Most of the 120,000 Armenians living there fled to Armenia. However, Pashinyan stated that they laid the groundwork for an agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan.
The latest and most tragic of such events unfolded quite recently when Azerbaijan, in furtherance of its years-long policy of ethnic cleansing, unleashed a wholesale attack on Nagorno-Karabakh when 100,000 Armenians were fleeing from Nagorno-Karabakh to the Republic of Armenia.
On Monday, Angolan President João Lourenço delivered a State of the Nation address to the National Assembly a few days after an extraordinary parliamentary session convened to debate his possible impeachment. The impeachment proposal was rejected with 123 votes against and 1 abstention. The process is absolutely closed, declared João Martin, spokesman for the ruling party, while the opposition leader Adalberto Costa Jr. accuses Lourenço's administration of failing to comply with parliamentary rules. During the speech, the Angolan president underlines that he will go forward with the process of withdrawing fuel subsidies and acknowledges the possibility of reducing the value-added tax on some products. João Lourenço forecasts a deceleration of economic activity, which will be compensated by the expected growth in the non-oil sector. After his speech, the speech of the President of Angola, parliamentarians and opponents expressed their opinion on the management of João Lourenço's government.
It was a speech that reflected the state of the nation as we are. The President's speech made a passage to all sectors, highlighting the investments that are being made, those that will be inaugurated by 2024 and those that are being implemented.
If we look a little bit at the balance sheet that he presents, it is a balance sheet that I can consider negative. That is to say that after the election that took place last year, it was very pleasant that we could have a country at a political, economic, and even at the social level that was different.
The treasures of Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, which were spared from a fire in 2019, are on display at the Louvre Museum in the same city. These objects of worship are an opportunity to discover these witnesses of history which were previously kept in the sacristy. The reliquary of the Holy Crown of Thorns, a solid silver Madonna and Child, and priestly vestments are just some of the 120 many liturgical objects on display. The exhibition Treasures of Notre Dame, from its origins, the Viollet-le-Duc, will be open until the end of January.
The treasure of Notre Dame was spared the fire in 2019. and the day after the fire it was evacuated and part of it found shelter in the storerooms of the Louvre. It was therefore the perfect opportunity to study this treasure and, above all, its history, which was little known.
We have come to the end of this news briefing, and you can find these and many other stories on our website, TeleSURenglish.net. Also join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.